Hello! In this video, I'm going to be reading Bridgerton, Book 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. If you're new here, hello, my name is Hannah. I love to read, and I also love the Bridgerton TV series on Netflix. I have watched all of the seasons, loved every minute of it, but I've never read any of the books, so I thought I'd change that before season 3 comes out next week. I thought I'd share my experience with you because I'm excited. I just wanted to share because I know there are lots of other Bridgerton fans out there who are maybe in my same boat, who have watched all the TV series, loved it so much, but aren't sure if the book is worth it. So if you love Bridgerton, comment this emoji down in the comments and we can gush about Bridgerton together in the comment section, okay? Let's get into it. Let's find out if the books are as good as the TV show. I've now been reading Bridgerton for 4 or 5 days now. I am about 150 pages into the book and I have yet to update you on it because every time I think about filming a little update, I choose to read it instead. So I am pleasantly surprised by this so far. Captured my attention really quickly. I think part of that is because this starts with Colin and Penelope's meet cute. It's like awkward and cute and I love it. I hope to see that in season 3 because it hasn't been shown thus far in the show. It started out with something new, something I didn't already know. And so it got me interested. We were also introduced to like the B plot for this romance really quickly. In like chapter 2 or 3, there's this ball. Everybody's there. Colin and Penelope are talking about Lady Whistledown and Lady Danbury walks up and then Lady Danbury, she says, okay everybody, I have an announcement. I will pay £1,000 to whoever can unmask Lady Whistledown first. So that's kind of our B plot for this romance and I really like it. I think it's fun. I think it's a mystery. I like how different characters are going about solving this mystery. I haven't loved the B plot lines in any of the romances I've read in the last few years, but like this one is fun to me and I like that, and so I'm liking every part of this. The parts where Colin and Penelope are clearly falling more and more in love, of course I love that because it's a romance and that's why I'm reading this, but also the parts where they're not falling in love, they're off doing their separate things, they're thinking about this, who is Lady Whistledown mystery, and that's fun to me. Speaking of Lady Whistledown, something I've noticed with like a difference between the book and the show, this is the 4th book in the series. Now, I haven't read any of the other books, so I don't know this for sure, but I am willing to bet that at this point in the books, Lady Whistledown has not been revealed yet. Getting back to like just what's going on in the book, Colin and Penelope have this encounter with Lady Danbury at the ball before Lady Danbury issues this challenge, right? And Lady Danbury is just sitting there complimenting and praising Penelope and saying, Colin, this is a really bright girl, you need to marry her, without saying it outright like that. But Penelope leaves that encounter, leaves that ball just feeling really good about herself because in the 10 years that she's been trying to find a husband and she's been out in society going to every single ball, right, she hasn't been noticed like that. And so to get all of this praise from Lady Danbury, it puts a spring in her step, and that is something I felt that myself. I was kind of that quiet wallflower type in high school, and so I was overlooked a lot. That was just relatable to me. I felt that before. And you know, she has this spring in her step. She's on her way to the Bridgerton's house to meet up with Eloise, and she's waiting in the parlor, and Colin has left his journal laying open on the couch. And so Penelope's kind of sitting there doing a little bit of this, reading his journal. They have this little argument. At one point during this argument, Lady Whistledown comes up and Colin is like, I hate that she just thinks I'm charming. I'm more than charming. And Penelope kind of puts him in his place and she's like, excuse me? Charming is a compliment, whereas when she writes about me, she's insulting me. Get over yourself. And she puts Colin in his place, and I was very proud of her for doing that. And then she storms out of the room. And after that, Colin begins to realize she might never talk to me again. She was really mad. She's never gotten mad at me like that before. What if she never talks to me? And he gets really nervous about that possibility. So things are progressing. I'll talk to you more after I've read more. This is too good not to film. Just to summarize. Colin was thinking about kissing Penelope, and then Penelope asked Colin to kiss her. And I was having this like internal dilemma about whether he should kiss her because it's improper, but at the same time he really wants to. He looked at her, and somehow he didn't see the woman he'd seen so many times before. She was different. She glowed. She was a siren, a goddess. And he wondered how on earth no one had ever noticed it before. Colin Bridgerton kissed Penelope Featherington, and it was glorious. Is it a little bit cheesy? Is it a little over the top? Yes. Is that why I like it? I think so. This was a kiss. Wow. Must be a kiss. You've been describing it for like a whole page. Now he's mad. Calm down, my dude. Lady Whistledown has retired because she doesn't like people in her business. Dun dun dun. Excuse me? I think Colin just found out that Penelope is Whistledown. What? Okay. It's getting good. It's getting good. The reason Colin finds out Penelope is Lady Whistledown is because Penelope goes to publish another article even after Lady Whistledown has retired. So then Colin finds out and he's like, you can't publish this, just let her take the fall. And Penelope comes back and is like, no, this was the only way people saw me. They didn't know it was me, but they saw me, they listened. When Penelope was like, this is my voice, I understood that. I am with Penelope there. He just I don't like that. Oh no. Oh no. This.
How hot and steamy is this going to be? Exceptionally.
Yeah. Seems this is true. For God's sake, Penelope, are you gonna marry me or not? This is the first time he's mentioned marriage or proposed in any sort of way. And the fact that it came right after, it doesn't make it very romantic. So I'm a little bit disappointed in Colin. I don't keep. You saw my reaction to Colin finding out Penelope is Lady Whistledown and then things getting a little steamy. You saw my reactions to all that, right? So after things get steamy, Colin's just like, okay, I guess we have to get married now, let's do it. And so they go to Penelope's house so that Colin can ask her mom if he can marry Penelope. Lady Featherington can't comprehend that anybody would want to marry Penelope, and that makes Colin mad, justifiably so, because yeah, the way Penelope is treated by her family is not great. I just feel so bad. And also proposing to a girl just because things just got steamy. I get that that's the time period. If you do anything improper, you have to get married. But at the same time, I'm like, that's not romantic. That's like Penelope is like, oh, he's gonna marry me. But like, you don't want to get married under those circumstances, right? Even in this time period, you don't want that to be the reason you get married, right? So I'm kind of upset. And again, maybe it's just like,
I'm in a different time. I'm of a different time and I don't get it.
Okay, fine. I don't get it. But like, still, I wanted it to be cute and romantic. Okay? So that's where I left off last night. So let's read some more. Penelope looked at her closest friend. For all her mixed emotions, Eloise was truly, honestly, and forever would be thrilled for her. I like Eloise and Penelope as friends, and so the fact that they aren't friends anymore in the show, I'm gonna be very sad. I love you, she whispered. I know. Okay. That's cute. Get to it already. Why did that make me tear up? Freaking Bridgerton. I'm here to give you my final thoughts on romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Last you saw me, I was crying over the last few pages of this book. So let me give you a quick recap of how we got to Colin's less than romantic proposal to me crying, okay? Colin and Penelope get engaged. Things are going well, wedding planning is fun, until their engagement party, which is crashed by a bunch of delivery boys delivering Lady Whistledown's real last column that says, Cressida's a big fat liar. Colin is upset because he thought Penelope was just gonna leave it alone. And so he and Penelope sneak out of the engagement party to go have a fight. And in the middle of this fight, Colin realizes, you know what? I am really truly in love with Penelope Featherington. Even though I'm really mad at her right now, I don't want her to ever leave me. You know what that leads to? Some steamy times. And then they get married and they're happy until Cressida Cowper figures out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown, and she comes to Penelope to blackmail her. Penelope has to tell Colin what's going on. She has to figure out what they're gonna do. What ends up happening is Colin gets over this fear that he's had about people hating Penelope if she's Lady Whistledown, and he thinks to himself, you know what, if I approve of Penelope, and all of my siblings also approve of and support Penelope as Lady Whistledown, then everybody will follow us because
We are the Bridgertons.
and so he decides that at Daphne's upcoming ball, he is going to announce to everybody that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. He and Penelope get up on the stage, they announce that she's Lady Whistledown, and Colin is right. With the support of the Bridgertons, everybody stands up, gives Penelope a standing ovation. Lady Danbury is there in the back of the crowd just whooping and hollering because she is so proud of Penelope and so happy. And that is why I cried. It made me happy to see Penelope get the praise she deserves. You know, it made me happy, okay? So I teared up. I did tear up. Another thing that made me want to cry, after this all happens, Penelope has to go tell Eloise that she's Lady Whistledown because Eloise was not present when this big announcement was made. And Penelope is really nervous. She's worried that like her friend might not approve of this. But she has nothing to worry about because Eloise is her bestie. Eloise has her back. That scene ended up being really sweet too. And we're not going to get any of that in season 3. I already mentioned how that's going to make me sad. And so all I'm going to say about Eloise and Penelope right now is that I hope that they make up by the end of season 3. That's all I can say. I hope they make up. There's your little recap of what happened since we last talked about the book. If you couldn't tell, I really liked this book a lot. I had so much fun reading it. It had me giggling and squealing like a schoolgirl. It was such a fun time. Was it perfect? No. There were things I didn't like about it. But I did enjoy it a lot more than other romances that I have read in the last few years because, as I mentioned earlier, I really liked the side plot that was going on in this book. I thought it was a lot of fun. Everybody trying to figure out who Lady Whistledown was, all the drama that ensues because of that. I also really liked that Penelope and Colin find this common interest in writing and how that kind of plays out through this book, through their relationship. Like there are times where Colin is really jealous of Penelope and how successful she is because of her Lady Whistledown writing. He realizes Penelope's really supportive of him, that he wants to get into writing, that he wants to publish his travel journals. They work through it, and I think that's really sweet that they have this common interest, and it like brings them closer together, but also there's some tension there because of it. And that tension felt natural. I do also have to admit that part of the reason I think I love this so much is because I am such a big fan of the Bridgerton show. The first 2 seasons of the show really did a good job of building up the anticipation for Colin and Penelope's love story. So I was already really invested in them as characters before I even picked up this book. Seeing that they actually do end up together in this book was really satisfying because I had that anticipation built up by the show. Speaking of the show, I am super curious and super excited to see what they do with the show because I know that the season 3 is going to be different than this book. One big reason that we've already talked about is the friendship between Penelope and Eloise. That's going to be very different in the show than it is in the book. Another big difference is that there's going to be some love triangle action happening in the show. And I want to see how that works in with this story, or if they've just written up a whole new story for Colin and Penelope. And if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the show, please let me know in the comments. I am debating whether or not to make a video with my reactions and thoughts to the show. So help me out. I need your help. Let me know, should I make a video about season 3 of the TV show? So overall, I really liked this book. I would highly recommend it. It is a fun time, especially if you like Bridgerton, you're familiar with the characters, you've read the previous books that come before this in the series, or if you've watched the TV show. I think you'll love this either way. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble about romancing Mr. Bridgerton. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!